everyone, welcome back to PHAMCAST. I'm having so much fun sitting at this table where so many awesome people come to talk about their stories, to share about preventative health, and to educate, empower, and inspire you to get into action when it comes to your well-being. And you know, in between the break here, Renee and I were having a conversation, the three of us were, and you talked about your children and that bracelet, the Wow Mom, and the impact you're having. And Renee, you recalled something from like 20 years ago. Do you want to share a story? Because this is so impactful, and the fact that community is so needed in this. We need community, not isolation, with our health. Tell us the story.
I just got shivers when you said that. So yeah, I was thinking about 20 years ago, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends of 50 years. So she called me 20 years ago to ask if I would sponsor her for a breast cancer walk because she found out she had breast cancer. And I was beside myself at the time. I had a less than 1-year-old and she had a young one too. And I hung up the phone and I called her right back. I needed to hang up the phone to have a moment.
Right.
But I called her right back and I said, I'm not going to sponsor you, I'm going to walk with you. And that started a movement with my best friend where we actually walked beside each other and we did the 2-day breast cancer walks in the States for I think 4 or 5 years. We probably did it 5 years, but we made it a point to do that, to raise funds, to have fun, but we trained for that for 5 years. And we got to go through Chicago a couple times, Santa Barbara.
Did you do the Toronto one?
I didn't do the Toronto one,
I
no.
did. And for similar reasons to you, so many family members, friends, patients with cancer, close family members who've lost loved ones, and a whole bunch of us walked together in Toronto for the inaugural one, for the 2-day, and you camp overnight and all the things that you do.
Yeah.
And I think you're raising at such a good point. We need one another. And I think since the pandemic, yes, we have to be safe, and sometimes we need to isolate, and sometimes we need to retreat to fill our cup, because being in community isn't always good. But we don't have to go this alone.
No.
And that's what joining the family, the Preventative Health Awareness family, is about. It's about feeling not just supported, but heard, breathing belief into people when they don't believe in themselves, and then trying to give them tools. And we need that. You as a friend said, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves, and that's so you, Renee. Like, I mean, seriously, I meet you on a call that I'm speaking on, and we're talking at 10 o'clock at night, and before you know it, you're like, we're doing this, we're doing that, and I'm gonna connect you here. It's refreshing to be around others that feel that way too, that not only are we better together, but that you're allowed to fall, and when you need someone, you're gonna be there for them.
Yeah.
And that's what this community and this movement is about. And that's what I have felt my whole career has been about. When I had my clinic, it was bricks and mortar. Now it is online, but it's now rippling into communities where people like you are taking lead in Ottawa. So there's real people with real businesses and real community where they can reach out, but you can also just do it with a friend. So thanks for sharing that, because we're all gonna need that friend.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the friend and you're gonna need the friend. And I know in my time, a friend, many of you, if you listen to the podcast, know that I had a poop transplant. Yep, ain't sexy, but it saved my life. And that poop in the ice cream container that went in my friend's cooler with me halfway across the country to have a fecal transplant by Dr. Thomas Louie. And when my good friend said to me, here, you can use my cooler, when I offered the cooler back, she said, no, you're good, keep the cooler. The point I'm making is, though, friends show up quietly and with strength and courage when you don't have it. And that's what this preventative health movement is doing for maybe those that don't have that friend and don't have that community. We're here for you. So now that we're talking about community, let's get back on track when we talk about what prevention actually means and how it manifests, or the lack thereof, and how it manifests in our lives, in our businesses. So as a physiotherapist, you've done lots of different work. You now also have private practice, you've worked in clinics, you've worked in a wide range of ways as a physio. How are you seeing how sedentary lifestyle, or the lack of being preventative, is having on midlife and everyday people, generally speaking?
Yeah, it's affecting everyone, and what I like to tell my clients and spread out there is that technology is moving so fast, and we expect these, quick, instant results. our bodies haven't and may never evolve to be like that, and movement truly heals.
Yes.
We can't heal without movement, and there's a lot of fear out there because we're not moving enough. So our bodies are stuck in this comfort of sitting. I want to say comfort in quotations because actually you're pretty uncomfortable.
Right.
But
as I'm moving in my chair.
Right? Like we all want to do some XYZ right now, don't we?
Yes.
I call it XYZ because we are 3D. I might look 2D right now, but my body is craving to move in 3D. My spine needs to. So to answer your question, a lot of us sit at a desk for our jobs. We are on our computers, we're on our devices, and this sedentary lifestyle, especially augmented from COVID, we're not even getting out of the house anymore. A lot of us are working from home, and that's a good thing, but use your pockets of time.
Yes.
Be intentional, book an appointment with yourself to move your body. Open your breath, like we're gonna demo some of that after, but it's so important because that's actually what will heal you.
Yes.
We don't need to get out of pain first to move.
Oh, that's so important. And there was just an article in, was it the Globe or something recently I read, and they were actually talking about this, and they were also on the radio talking about it, knee pain. Oh, I can't do that because I have knee pain, or I can't do that because I have shoulder pain. Oh, I got news for you. Actually, it's in the moving that you reduce the pain. Now, you have to do things, as therapists, we have to do things within safety and measured, and that's why you connect with healthcare professionals, ambassadors that can help you. But that excuse prevents the body from being oiled, for lack thereof. Motion is lotion, movement is medicine. And when we don't do that, we can't do that. So what we do or don't do now, we can or can't do later. And so I love that you're saying that, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. And getting out in nature, like you said, go for a walk in the forest, for crying out loud. It's so, so important. And for you, Renee, you didn't dive deep into your story about your Apple Watch and how it uncovered something to help you be the CEO of your health, but how you took it in a way, not in a panicked way, but in an empowered way, to get curious, to track what was going on with your heart, and now going through the testing and working in a corporate job that's sedentary and research. You know, you work with a research company. There's a lot of that sedentariness. It's affecting the corporate world, isn't it? Can you tell us your story about the Apple Watch and then link that to what it means, even when you have this and work in a corporate world, how you can create prevention in your life?
Absolutely. So the story with the Apple Watch is that at the end of July last year, I thought, well, I'm going to wear it at nighttime. Most people charge their devices at night and put them out of the bedroom, but I thought I'm going to wear it for sleeping to see what kind of quality and quantity of sleep I'm getting. And it triggered an AFib, irregular heart warning, to my watch. And so, from the watch to my phone. And, after it happened the first time, I thought, well, maybe it's just a one-off. But then it kept happening over and over. So that led me to a doctor's appointment, in to see a cardiologist, ECGs, 2-week Holter monitor, echocardiogram, cardiac MRI, cardiac CT scan, an overnight sleep study. Through all of this, found out that I have sleep apnea and that I was waking up so many times on my side, on my back while I was sleeping. So the sleep quality is not there because I need help to sleep, because I'm waking up tired all the time. Cardiomyopathy, intermittent AFib, and my heart needed healing. And so what that ended up doing is putting me on some medication, meeting with the cardiologist, who is amazing, Dr. Green at the Empire Hospital. But through the process of me also listening to the body, because I was pushing hard for years. I was getting up 5:15, 6 o'clock, pushing weights, riding a bike. I can do all these things. And my parents and my loved ones and my friends would say, maybe you're doing a bit too much, slow it down. I'm like, what do you know? Anyways, they were right. But I wasn't listening because I was pushing. Cardiologist said, slow down, take the meds, stick to yoga and walking. Do what you do best. And by listening and taking the time to slow down, my heart is actually healing. And so that was a great message to hear last December, to say between the end of July and December, I was healing my heart by following a plan. But it wasn't just medical, right? I was stocking my toolbox with what I needed, but also coming back to some of the basics as a yoga teacher, but practicing what I preach.
What I love so much about what you said, and technology, although it can wreak havoc in a lot of ways, it can also be our friend when used well and in pockets, and to help move medicine forward. in the first segment, if you didn't listen, go back and listen, because we talked about, we'll never refer to, we believe in conventional medicine, we believe in science and research, we need it, and I'm grateful to live in the country we do where we have access to that. You'll never hear me use the word alternative medicine, because you don't see your doctor or your naturopath or your physio or your optometrist, you see them all. And you're the most important member of that team. So complementary medicine, you're required to see the cardiologist, go through the testing, be on the meds that you needed to be on, get the sleep study, have the awareness, let your body heal. And here you are, the cardiologist saying, bravo, your heart is healing.
Absolutely.
You were part of that equation.
Absolutely, I was. And it wasn't just the cardiologist, it was understanding some of this new cool technology that exists. So yes, there's a CPAP machine, but I had a really cool experience with the Ottawa TMJ and sleep apnea clinic, right? So understanding that there's technology like a mouth guard made in Montreal, Quebec area that can slide your jaw forward, that moves your tongue forward, that can help improve your sleep. Yes. Meeting with a doctor at the Cartbridge Eco Wellness Center, Dr. Catherine Willow, who focuses on German New Medicine, right? A 4th generation naturopath. So it was this whole holistic picture of what are all the different pieces that I can put together, who are all these, different wellness practitioners, and what are the tools and the techniques that I can stock my preventative health toolbox when I need them, in times like now.
But you quarterbacked all of that.
I have to.
And she documented that because she's a FAMCAST. How cool is that?
And I've been sharing it on social media.
That's my point. You're going to go and follow them on social media. We'll make sure that's put up on the screen so that you can go follow these amazing ladies, because you're vulnerably sharing, not to scare, but to educate and empower, and to let people know that even when something might be wrong, if you lean in instead of back and retreating, and you get into your community and you connect yourself, you take ownership. You started doing the things and listening to your body in a way. Look at the difference it's made. And that's what this movement's about. That's what that's what fuels me on the days where I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this preventative health movement is a beast. And I'm grateful, this is what I've asked for. But it's those things. It's the text messages that we got when we walked in studio here today where somebody's telling me their blood pressure's down. This is why we're doing this. And you in the corporate world, you must see this a lot where people are just slowly deteriorating, and that's not good.
Yeah, there's a lot of burnout in the corporate world too. I work behind a computer. Gone are the days where you're in-person meetings as often as we used to as well. So just that sedentary lifestyle as well wreaks havoc on the body.
Absolutely.
I experienced that during COVID because I was sitting a lot. Went to check on a neighbor who was in her mid-90s and slipped on one step and twisted my ankle, fractured my heel bone. And that process was, I'm pretty sure, because I sat too much, right?
Right.
So when that happened, I couldn't walk for a month while I was healing the ankle, the fracture. And I said to myself, when I can walk again, I'm going to run, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I'm out of here. I cannot continue to function the way I used to. I also stopped drinking alcohol and changed a lot of the way I was functioning day to day.
Right.
And it made a huge difference.
I love that. And one of the things you mentioned about with the mouth guard and technology, and by the way, they're going to be at our upcoming event in Ottawa. That dentist and his team are going to be there. During my undergrad, when I was at Waterloo, I was working in the sleep and pulmonary function lab at St. Michael's Hospital, and they did sleep studies. So I learned a lot about the power of sleep, and it's a pillar of wellness. So it's so important, and breath. So before we go take a break and come back to talk about the event, we always want to stock people's toolbox at this table. So Tatianna, when we're talking about the importance of posture and breath and how they go together, what can people do right now to stock their toolbox to help improve their breath? Because breath is our vital force, and we know it's critically important and can literally change our nervous system if it's done properly.
Yeah, it's such a good point. We talk so much about food and what we drink and put in our bodies, but we breathe 10 to 15 times every hour, or every minute.
Every minute. Hopefully not every hour.
So let's, I'll take you guys through how to position yourself in the most effective way to take that full functional deep breath. And then Renee is going to guide us through that breath. But we can't breathe that way until we're sitting in a way that allows that breath to come in and out. So I always like to tell my clients to put their hands on their hips. You can be standing or sitting, But when you've got your hands on your hips, you want to feel like the front hip bone, the bony part of your front hip, is lower than your back hip bone. A lot of us sit dumped back, which lets us slouch. It feels like our low back is kissing the back of your chair. You actually want to feel like you're kind of rolled forward. And if that hurts your back because you haven't been there in a while, just back it off 50%. It's not all or nothing. So I don't want you to create back pain, back tension, but just back it off a little. But you do want to feel like at least that front bone is a little bit lower than that back bone. What that allows is that lumbar curve in your lower back. And then from there, you pull the shoulders down and back. Because if we're dumped back and we try to fix the shoulders, then now you have upper back and neck pain, right? We can't have that nice curvature from that profile view unless we build it from the bottom of the spine up. So roll the shoulder blades down and back. Feel your breath here. And if you visualize yourself, you have like a string in the middle of your head that's pulling you a little taller, but the shoulder blades are coming down and back. And you've got your little curve at the lower back, and I'll let Renee take over for the breath.
Yeah, the breath is so wonderful, and it's such an easy tool that we've got with us. One of my favorite breathwork techniques is called the box breathing. So box breathing, often used by Navy SEALs as well, helps to regulate the nervous system. You can do this when sitting, standing, walking, driving. And it's simply that. Imagine a box. So as you inhale for a count of 4, then at the top, hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4. And then hold, pause the breath for 4. And then continue, inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. And then hold for 4. So as you continue that, as many cycles as you need to, you may also feel like your heart, your breath, everything kind of comes into sync again.
You know what? Thank you for that. And I will tell you, when I went through menopause at 39, and to this day, if falling asleep is difficult, the vagus nerve, one of the largest nerves in our body, that box breath has saved me time and time again in a stressful situation, or if I'm having a hard time going to sleep. And I do that when I'm going to sleep, and it only takes a few breaths and I'm dozing off. It changes the vagus nerve, and the ripple effect, that changes the hormones, and that's impacting the sleep. It is free, it's your life force, but we hold our breath and we take it for granted. And I love the way you were describing it, and as a background in kinesiology, both of us, and shout out to your partner, your husband, who is a researcher at the University of Ottawa and PhD in biomechanics. We take for granted that our body can work for us or against us. And just having awareness of how to position ourselves and then layering in a tool like breath work now makes it scientific, not just this airy-fairy breath technique. I'm calling it out like it is because there's a lot of people that think that, but at the end of the day, it has been shown to have massive impact on cortisol, your stress hormone, on the vagus nerve, on the way we experience our life and our relationships. So before you spin out of control, whether it's because you're stressed, you're anxious, you're grieving, you're sad, you're excited. You got into the car today so excited to be here, and because we heard something else which we can't tell you, stay tuned because there's exciting things happening behind the scenes. But there was so much excitement, and the first thing you said when you got out of the car, we gotta breathe. Because we had to be grounded to come into this studio today to bring this to you. So thank you for that both, because that connection, and look at that family working together to help stock your toolbox. When we come back after the break, we're gonna talk about the launch event for FAM 2026 at the Hub 350 in Canada. Thanks to these incredible women and 2 others who I'm going to be talking about in a moment. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this, because we're going to tell you all that's going to happen February 2nd as we launch the epic FAM 2026.